Our next speaker, after two excellent presentations, is Elias Nosrati, who's a PhD candidate under the eminent supervision of Professor Larry King in the Department of Sociology. His research is located at the interface of the social and the life sciences, as well as political economy of health and wellness. I'm really looking forward to this presentation. Thank you very much.
So good morning, everyone. I would like to present a recent piece of research that I conducted with a group of collaborators on the topic that has come to be known as the Nordic health paradox. Now, what exactly is the Nordic health paradox? It refers to a rather puzzling empirical reality. Historically, the presence of powerful state-led redistribution policies has yielded high levels of overall equality in Scandinavian societies. However, and this is where the paradox comes in, despite this egalitarian welfare model, health inequalities persist to a remarkable degree in Nordic countries. In fact, in a country such as Norway, for instance, the magnitude of health inequalities echoes that of European nations with starkly contrasting welfare systems and political economies. Now, this is surprising to say the least, and despite years of research, there is still no cogent framework for explaining the persistence of this phenomenon. So consequently, my colleagues and I, we decided to have a look at a well-known and rather extreme example of this, namely inequalities in diabetes prevalence in the capital of Norway, Oslo, where previous research has shown that diabetes inequalities in particular are very salient, especially between different ethnic groups. Now, this is a map of Oslo, divided according to its 26 administrative neighborhoods. Much like virtually every other major European city since the mid-19th century, Oslo is known for its historical divide between the good west side and the bad east side. And so we suspected that diabetes inequalities may be spatially mediated. So let's have a look at the distribution of diabetes cases across these administrative neighborhoods. The darker the color on this map, the higher the prevalence of diabetes. And as you can tell, there is a very clear spatial bias. Diabetes is concentrated in the socially relegated eastern regions of Oslo. Now, with knowledge of this geographical pattern, we decided to adopt a multi-level framework using both individual and neighborhood-level data in order to investigate the role of urban space in the making of these inequalities. Our findings revealed that conventional social determinants of disease, such as socioeconomic status or occupation, these play less of a role in Norway compared to other advanced capitalist societies. This may be viewed as a testament to the strength of the Norwegian welfare state, where other welfare regimes operate according to materially defined mechanisms of stratification that then tend to translate into health inequalities. The Nordic model seems to have a redeeming impact on health disparities fostered by economic inequality. However, as we all just saw, there is a distinct sociospatial pattern in the distribution of diabetes. And our models confirm the presence of a statistically significant spatial determinant of diabetes. So the natural question to ask then is, what is it about physical space that seems to play such an important role? What is the substance of this spatial component? The answer is toxic environments. We defined neighborhoods characterized by the relative concentration of fast food chains and the relative absence of healthy food shops and physical exercise facilities as toxic environments. Then we tested whether these unhealthy areas could account for any of the geographical variance in diabetes. Our results revealed that living in a toxic environment increases the odds of suffering from diabetes by at least 30% after controlling for a wide range of covariates, including ethnicity, including body mass index, including education, occupation, economic status, age, and so on and so forth. Now, to wrap it up, what conclusions can we draw from this? In the case of Oslo, health inequalities are large, and they are directly inscribed in urban space via toxic environments. As such, in addressing the empirical reality of the Nordic health paradox, and in seeking to redress it, it seems crucial to take the interaction between individual and neighborhood-level attributes into account when researching and fighting health inequalities. The principal policy implication would be that policymakers move beyond conventional individual and disease-specific approaches to health inequality by considering the multi-level and overdetermined nature of this complex phenomenon. Finally, although clearly indispensable, absolutely quintessential, a strong welfare state in and of itself seems to be insufficient to eliminate avoidable health inequality. Further targeted interventions are required to combat the creation, the reproduction, and the diffusion of toxic environments. This is an overview of everyone who contributed to this project. Thank you all very much for your attention.
Hello, thank you for your talk. The question I wanted to ask is how stable these spatial patterns seem to be over time. You suggested that it might have something to do with the fast food chains, but I'm wondering if you try to tackle that, would it solve the problem or would it merely displace the problem?
By tackling the distribution of fast food chains? Okay, that's a good question. The thing is that, as I said, historically Oslo is known for its historical divide, so there's always been huge disparities in health between these two sides, and we can go into details with individual neighborhoods, but just to give you a broad idea. And then the underlying causal factors have surely changed over time, insofar as fast food is a relatively new phenomenon. However, what is interesting is that the sort of social divisions undergirding these inequalities have stayed pretty much constant throughout the history of Oslo. Surely, just eliminating fast food in itself will be insufficient. What I think is that the sort of disproportionate presence of fast food chains in those areas is pretty much a reflection of some more underlying social conditions. Consequently, I think those targeted interventions should focus on a variety of social, political, and historical forces that then, in this case, manifest themselves as toxic environments. Thank you very much.